Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So about 3 years ago, I created this video on how to add VueJS to PHP. So it was a very basic way in which one can essentially integrate a Vue instance into a PHP page. It really looks at it from the point of view of how one would essentially add Vue to a normal HTML page, because it's also the way in which PHP has to be added through the HTML for it to be viewed client side, because PHP is a server-side language. Now, I got this question about 3 months ago, and it's thanking us for the video, and we appreciate that. In addition to suggesting or asking a question if we could create a CRUD explain how to receive the arrays, and I'm assuming that we're talking about the arrays that we looked at in the previous video. So I think this would be this one here that we looked at how to really work with arrays in PHP, and it's pretty simple, I would say. But as it relates to the CRUD part, I'm not really sure exactly from which perspective we're looking at it from. Are we looking at it from the perspective that PHP is the main driver in the CRUD application, where you're looking where PHP is the one that's doing the whole operations in the backend? Or are we looking at it from the perspective that VueJS is going to be, with JavaScript, is going to be doing, or essentially JavaScript is going to be doing the CRUD operations, the create, read, update, and delete, or will it be PHP? So that's the question I have. So unfortunately, I do not have PHP installed on this machine, and I don't really use it. I haven't really used it, I would say, since 3 years ago. So as a result of that, um, I don't really intend to install it right now, but I'm going to actually show how it will work, because it's actually pretty simple. But as it relates to the CRUD, I'm going to highly suggest that you go ahead and watch this series, that you take a look at this series. I'll leave it in the description. So this looks at how to create a COVID-19 report application. So it's a full CRUD application that uses the MVC structure and also use PHP object notation, or I don't remember, it's PDO, something of that sort. It's been a while since I've used PHP. Uh, so yeah, but we're going to basically go ahead and look at how we would add, essentially use an array or receive the array, because it's pretty simple to do it. So we have Vue over here, and I don't have, as I mentioned before, PHP is server side. You need a server in order to run it, and I don't have it installed locally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an online editor in order to facilitate this. So I have Vue open here, and we can go to the get started. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the index page that they use. But before I do that, let's go ahead and I'm going to type PHP online editor and see if we can find one. So I am going to be using I guess we can use this one by WA3 Schools. So we have this PHP editor here, and I guess we can do the try it yourself. And this is pretty much all that we'll need in terms of for us to be editing this. So what we want to do now, I'm gonna go over back here, go to click on the index here. It's gonna take us to this Vue.js page, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this here. So I'm gonna paste it in here, and when we run this, you will see that it actually works. So we're getting the Vue instance here, and it's printing out this message here. It's similar to what we have over here, pretty similar to what we have over here. And the arrays now, I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go for PHP array, because I think W3 School actually has one. So here we go, it's PHP array. and this is 1. So if we go ahead and copy this here and we go back to the editor, if we paste it in, I'm gonna format this a bit. If we run this, then it should print out, or it should echo out, as you can see here, all of the cars that are in here. So if we do a break in here, you can see that it now prints it on the new line. But we don't want it to be printing out. I'm assuming that we don't necessarily want it to be printing out just as a PHP echo statement. I'm assuming that we want it inside of the Vue instance. So for that to work, all we have to do is to use some basic JavaScript. So if we come down here now, we can create a variable, or constant variable. I'm gonna call this cars because that's what we had, and we'll just open our PHP I don't remember tags, I guess, here. And what we are going to do is we're going to echo out the array into this variable here, but we're going to use the JSON encode function to basically encode the cars array that was created here. And one important thing that we want to do is we actually want to close this with a semicolon in order for us to end this statement here. And this is pretty much all that you would need for this to actually work. So for this to essentially to have it converted over into JavaScript. So pretty much what we're doing here is just converting the PHP array into a JavaScript array. And the next thing that we want to do now is to put it inside of the instance. So we have data here. So we're going to say cars because we're using, or we should be using ES6 at this point. Usually you'd have to do so, but you can just go ahead and do cars here, and that should pretty much be it. So what we want to do at this point is to print this out. Let's do a for loop. So we can just iterate over all of the elements that are in here. So let's do a UI, close this out, and then we want the li tags. I'm just creating the structure here, and then we can do a v4, and we can do a v4 car in cars, and we usually should put a key on this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a key here. Key will just be car, and now we can print out the car, and let's run this and see what we get. And there we go. So now you can see that we have all of our cars being printed out here, and you can see that it's pretty simple to actually have it integrated. All we have to do is just convert the PHP array into a JavaScript array, and that is essentially it for this. I guess I could increase the size so you can like copy this if you need to. I won't necessarily, not sure if I have to upload this, you can let me know or so, but I think you should be able to copy this. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That was a wonderful question. It did take a while to respond to it, but that's it. And as it relates to the CRUD aspect, I strongly recommend that you go ahead and check this out if PHP is going to be the driver for the CRUD related stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.